and things, telling people I love this girl and I want her to be my girlfriend. But for him, he didn't really come out to say, I want you to be my girlfriend. Different people kept telling me, so guy loves you, he wants you. And I just told them, why can't he just open his mouth and let him tell me by himself? But later on, I just said, okay. The way they were all saying that he's a good guy, he's nice, he's this, he's that. I later made up my mind. Okay, I said, okay, if the mountain refused to meet Mohammed will go to the mountain. So somehow we just blended, and that was how the relationship started, as just being students, until we now finished school. And he left before me. He went for his youth service, but later on he now came for his master program, and also as a graduate assistant in the school. As at that time I was already in my final year. Then after the final year, I went to Delta State for my youth service corps. And then somehow we left ourselves. So it was after like 2 years after youth service again, we now met. We came back again. And as at that time, when he now came back, I told him we have done friendship before. So if we are coming, if we have to move forward ahead, it has to be for marriage now. He said yes. Actually, why he's coming now is for marriage, and that was how we started the process all over again from there.
That was very bold of you for an African woman to like say, I've done friendship when I was in school. Now, what are you coming for this time? Let's define it. I think ladies should have that bold step. They should take that bold step of like asking a guy, you're coming close to me, what are you coming for? Some women don't know how to ask such questions, but I commend Winifred for taking that bold step to tell the man that now you're coming. What are you coming for now? We're out of school. What next are you coming for? So, Engineer Christian Omogbeme will take the story from here. Journey into marriage.
Yeah, journey into marriage started when started work. Definitely you need job. You need to be working if you want to get married, because you need the money as well to take care of the family. This time it's not just you, but you and your wife and possibly children. So I was already working, and got a time came when you must know that okay, it's time for me to get married. As about that time, we've already connected back again after the break, so we started the journey to preparing for marriage. And we took almost 6 months plus before the marriage proper took place in 98 February.
Okay. So, you painted a very beautiful story of love, how you met and all that. So now, the journey proper, the marriage proper. How did you go into marriage? How did you, because you're asking him, what are you coming for? He has told you he's coming for marriage. So can you tell us, after marriage, what happened?
Okay, so from there, parents. From there, I had to meet his parents. From there, he had to meet my parents, and my parents interviewed him, and I think they liked him. Then they also asked me to also meet his own people. They were all living in Lagos then, while we were living in Warri. So we met, and the parents too, I liked the parents, and the parents also liked me. So from there we fixed a date. When they came to meet my dad, they fixed a date for the introduction, traditional marriage, and finally the white wedding. We had it like 2 days interval. That is the traditional and the marriage, and everything went smoothly. So when we met, I was already working, he was working. But when we now married, I now had to quit my job because the job was only in Warri then, and while he was based in Lagos. So I had to relocate with him. After the marriage, immediately after the marriage, he was working in the north there. He was in a project, so I had to follow him for the project to the north. So after he had just maybe a week leave, we now came back to Warri. We now picked our things, the gifts, the wedding gifts, and then we took a truck to pack all those things. We didn't really have, he didn't really have a home. I'll call it home, because as at the time we married, he was still living with his parents. So, but before the marriage, he had already got an apartment, but he had not put anything in the house. So it was from that Warri, when we moved from that Warri, we took a truck, we stopped over at Benin, we bought our furniture. So two of us, in short, we launched the house together. That was how the whole thing has started. And God was faithful. Within just that 4 months, he was blessed with another job. We were thinking we already settled in Lagos, but within that space of 2 months, he got another job again that moved him again to Port Harcourt. And like I said, anywhere you go, me, I will follow. So as he was going, mainly he got accommodation. We are in Lagos, April. He got a new job in June. By September again, we are packing our things again from Lagos. And that was how we finally found ourselves in this Port Harcourt. And we have been in Port Harcourt since that 1998. And
Okay.
it's been a wonderful journey.
Okay. Chama is itching to ask you what made me laugh is anywhere you're going, I'm following you. I think that's the spirit in marriage. Okay, Chama.
Okay. Okay, guys, let me just ask the straight to Engineer Mobeme, okay? Tell me, you didn't tell us God said. You didn't tell us you saw her in the dream. You didn't tell us there was one person that gave you word of knowledge. How did you know it was her? What convinced you?
At that time, I have not yet known Christ. So it was not God said, it was my feeling and the person I saw. And based on we went to the same school but not the same course, but relationship, finding out from other people who she was and how she was in class, then coupled with when we meet in those days for Bender State. So we have Bender State Students Union. So when we meet, interact and so on, that's how it all started.
All right. Good to know that, and you're still together, 22 years and counting. So I want to ask, has it been all this rosy and rosy? You're giving me the impression that you've never had any issues, you've never quarreled, or you didn't have any issue. I want to hear from Winnie. What kind of challenges have you faced so far?
I wouldn't say it's been rosy at that initial time, just like I said, changing of jobs. Financially, there was really no money because at the time we married, his salary there was about 18,000 naira. And even then, when I married, my sister asked me 18,000 naira. First of all, she asked, how much is the guy you want to marry now? How much is his salary? I said 80,000. She screamed, 80,000 naira and a first child, and they were 8. They had like 7 siblings after him. So like, how are you going to cope? I told him, God will help us. That was just my response then. But I didn't know that she was already married before she was asking me all these questions. So she saw things ahead of me, and I didn't know that finances meant so much in marriage anyway. So when we entered the marriage, the first baby came in immediately that same year. That December, that same year, the first baby came in. So of course, to buy baby food, it wasn't easy, but we really had to look up to God. But later on, I had to tell myself, Lord, when the second baby now came, and I said, no, we cannot continue like this, Lord. I started crying unto God, God, we need a change of things. Money has to come into this relationship if this marriage really has to be very sweet. Marriage without money, sometimes nobody would lie and say it is rosy. You actually need money to buy baby food, money to pay school fees, money to pay hospital bills when the children fall sick. So at that initial time, it wasn't rosy financially, but we thank God. God has actually still helped us, and we are still counting, we are still going. And we know that God is on our side and would rock it in Jesus' name.
Amen. Oh, engineer has something to say. Engineer Christian.
Yeah, it was not at that time, just starting. The salary was just like you mentioned, was small, and we just have to manage. The sacrifices are such that things you would love to have, you need to sacrifice them because of the family. When the children started that time, things we want to eat, we don't, and we just have to give the children priority. And that was the way we went ahead. In the course of it, whether there were challenges, of course, there are always challenges in marriages. But now what we do, we ensure that such challenges does not slip. And if it must slip, we have a way of discussing it within ourselves, that there's no third party in it. Thank you.
Okay, when you say challenges do not slip, I don't understand. Slip how?
You don't allow it to linger on. If not settled that same day, the worst case, by the following day, it has to be settled. That's
Okay.
what I mean.
All right, Winnie, did you have problems with in-laws? When you started out, were you accepted, or what kind of issues did you have with in-laws?
At the initial time, it was so rosy. Even then, my husband would say in the church then, when they were like, marriages and in-laws, and he would say, I let my wife come and give the talk, because everything was just rosy, rosy, rosy. We didn't really have issues. But down the line, we started having issues. Maybe they will say me, I'm too secretive, or maybe I'm making their brother to be too secretive. The brother is no longer telling them the things he used to say to them. So all those things were now bringing issues and issues. But God still intervened, and we're able to cope and overcome all those challenges.
Did you have any issues with your mother-in-law?
We're in the African setting. I wouldn't really say problem like that. Like in Nigeria setting, a mother expects that is the wife that should do all things.
And wait, is the first son you married?
Yes, it's
And
the
you
first
know
son,
the
and
first
the first child.
And the first child, and they're
Yeah.
special to their mom.
So the African setting, they want the woman to do everything in the house. So like when we married, me and my husband were like, since we knew ourselves when we were young, right from the university days, and so we were just open to each other. He used to help out in the house and do other things with me. But when we now had our first baby, when my mother-in-law came, I just noticed that those things that used to help me to do, he was no longer doing them again. Maybe because he didn't want the mother to say, this one a woman, rapper. So he was not doing that. So I felt hurt. I just felt, but we are supposed to be one. We are not supposed to be hiding. You understand? So I didn't really. I felt bad. So I started making my complaints. So there was even one Sunday when he said, let's go to church. I told him, I'm not going to church. I'm not an hypocrite. I'm not going to church. I'm not happy. You understand? So he now came. He said, okay, I'm not going. What is this issue? So that was when I now opened up my heart. I said, I don't like how you are treating me. I just gave birth. I'm not so strong. You are supposed to be helping me. But because your mom is around now, you are trying to hide things. And then later he was able to see with me. I now had to come out of his shell to help out in the way I wanted him to help me out.
Okay, how were you able to really cope in this crime period from being a typical African man to satisfying your wife?
Yeah, since my mother or whoever comes will come and go, she stay with me and my wife. At the end of it all, I just had to adjust and came to realize that is more important. Now it's a family, of me setting up a family, and I must support my family. So based on that, all those things now to stop. I now just started doing all the things I would normally have done even without anybody being there.
Okay, so you really danced to the tune of your wife to please her, because the children she's actually talking about are your children. Okay, Shama, you have something to ask?
Okay, I want to ask again. At what point did you guys got born again? Is it the same time, or one person got born again before the other? And how were you able to change, or you understand, divert everything that has to do with you and your family to Christ?
Yeah, you got the question.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I got born again, and earlier in my final year in school, and as per bringing everybody to that knowledge, what I would have been doing then was a little. I had to stop, and I know that this time around is Christ first, and so that really that was part of the adjustment, and I also had to be able to, as at that time, my wife also started, unknown to me, that she was already a part of the ministry, and it was easy for us to blend. Thank you.
Let me ask Mrs. Winifred. Okay. I mean, in the case of trying to blend with your husband, because I discovered that he is an introvert and you are an